please check out our Facebook page, Taboo Talks, EIB at Facebook.com, of course. And I was like, we got to do a show on this because about what I had to say about it. And so tonight we're talking about Empire. If you all don't know, it's a new show featuring Taraji P. Henson and Terrence. What's Terrence's last name?
Howard.
Terrence Howard, I think it is. Yeah, Terrence Howard. And, of course, they played in the other movie which exploited black people, which was the perfect setup for them to put them in a series. So tonight we're talking about Empire. Are we building the Empire state of mind, or the people, the characters in the show, are they building an empire, or is it simply black exploitation? And, sis, the title says it all. I don't mean to be hypocritical. The show was good. I watched it. The show was good. They had really good parts of the show to put you down, parts that pick you up, parts that make you laugh, parts that make you sad, parts that make you angry. And that's what it takes to make a good show. On the other hand, a really bad time to highlight all the negative things in the black community. That's how I felt about it. We started Black Lives Matter movement, and then this show comes out, and everybody on Facebook is giving it, Twitter is giving it rave reviews. Seemed like I was the only one offended. So for anybody who don't know anything about this show, I'll give you just a quick layout in my little spiel for today. Terrence Howard, he's basically a record owner. He began the record label. Actually, him and Taraji did together. She took her money that she made from selling drugs and used it to start up the company. She ended up going to jail from hustling to the record label. He ended up taking over the record label and just took off with it. They had 4 kids together, if I'm not mistaken, 4 sons. 2 of the sons do music. One of those 2 is gay. The other son is married to a white woman. He's the one that handles the business. He doesn't do any of the music. You have the younger son, who is the typical X-generation, wilding out, young thug / all of these new young artists out now, Migos. If you've never heard of these people, look them up. You'll see what I'm talking about. Listen to some of their music. And it's basically, am I missing something? And that's basically it. And she finally gets out of jail, and he's not expecting her to get out of jail. He has a new woman. The record label has went international. They just became a public exchanging stock business, which means that people will be able to buy into the shares of the label, which is a really big deal, which means he has to get things approved by the SEC. So that gives her position to ask for some type of money to be dispensed to her, because she's the one that put the money up to start it. And so that's pretty much the plot of the show. So you're going to have her and him at each other's throats. You got the sons at each other's throats because they want the empire to belong to them. And, of course, it's not going to belong to all of the children. Someone would take over Terrence's place when he's too old or when he dies or whatever. And, of course, there's a lot of crime that goes on within this and within the family, murder, plot, blackmail, the typical stuff that a lot of us deal with and have dealt with in our community. So that's the gist of the show. And I just, as a whole, it wasn't that bad. But let me tell you the one scene in the show that pissed me off. And if you haven't, we tried to upload. Sis, were we able to get that uploaded on the Facebook page?
Which one?
Did it ever upload that clip of when he threw his son in the trash?
Yeah, no, I didn't.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
the clip
I'm sure they'll probably be able to find it. Yeah. So let me tell you, Terrence and Taraji, this was before she goes to jail. They're sitting at the dinner table eating. The son, one of the next to the youngest son, he walks down the stairs He has on his mom's high heel shoes. He has on some more articles of clothing of hers. He has her little headpiece on his head, and he has his hands on his hips, and he comes down the stairs switching. Terrence instantly pops up from the table, grabbing. It looked like he was spanking her on his way. Next thing I know, Taraji jumps up, hands someone else the baby, runs saying, no, Lucius. No, Lucius, what you doing, Lucius? You know, ghetto. And they go to a scene, and Terrence is putting the little boy in the garbage can outside in front of the house. And Taraji grabs him. Her name is Cookie in the show. Cookie grabs him. She's like, what are you doing? This is your son. And he's like, ain't no son of mine. Come out dressed like a girl. He's a boy. And, that's how a lot of black men probably would respond that way. I'm being honest. Not throwing him in a trash can, but saying, no, he's a little boy, and he needs to play with little boy things and wear what little boys wear. To my surprise, I attempted to make a comment about it, and people ended up upset with me. And I was surprised. Some people agreed with me, but that really made me feel some type of way, especially for those of you that have sons. It's just not okay for me to go and shave off all of my daughter's hair before she's even old enough to know what sexuality is and put her in a category of sexuality that she ain't even got the mind yet to decide for herself. That's just not fair to me. And placing that type of image in a little black boy's mind right now is the last thing that they need to see. And I don't even have to get on the spiritual aspect of it. We have an assault against the black community. Whether people would like to admit it or not, there is an agenda. We have NFL players who were like the last one to get drafted, but he was the only one that was drafted to have all of those big stations there to see his response. Why was it the other people that were drafted, why didn't they get that same amount of media coverage? Why did they have to show?
He called them ahead of time. So, yeah, it was.
Right.
Yeah.
And so why would they
go through
that? Because it's an agenda. Exactly.
Yeah.
And whether he called them or not. It was 270-something other people that got drafted, and they weren't there. I'm sure whether somebody here today, usually the number 1 to number 5 pick, they're usually highlighting all of that. They highlighted this dude, and he was 200 and something, almost last. And they made sure he was on every station. They showed him kissing that white boy over and over again. I'm not racist. I'm just calling like I see it. I ain't need to see that. Cut the camera, edit it. Edit it out like y'all edit the good stuff out that happens in the hood that nobody talks about, nobody shows. So we had him come out the closet. Then we got the other black basketball player who just so happens to have a twin brother and has had plenty of women. None of them knew he was gay. He came out the closet. Then right after that, you see Snoop Dogg with his nails painted with designs and French tips. Not too long after that, then it comes out, and you have them wearing skirts and dresses. You had A$AP Rocky going 106 in Park with a dress on. Not too long after that, we see Young Thug on the stage with bright red fingernails painted. All of this was back to back to back. And then what happened? To just put the cherry on the cake, Carrie, what's the little girl named Kendra Wilkerson, her husband, Hank Wilkerson, and she's ex-Playboy Bunny. She was actually Hugh Hefner's third girlfriend, in whom they all lived in the house with him. Her black husband gets caught with a tranny. All of this happens this 2014. And throughout the year, we lose Trayvon Martin. We ended up having Mike Brown was murdered, among so many others. The 12-year-old little boy who was shot to death because he had a BB gun and they thought it was a real gun. The list goes on. And they felt that this was a good time to put these type of images in our head. I'm disgusted. And I'm even more disgusted that hardly anybody else, it was probably 2 or 3 people online on Facebook who kind of commented with the same response that me and Essence had about this. Black people, y'all should have been pissed. All last month and the month before and all this summer, all I kept hearing is Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter. Protest. This show come out exploiting Black lives, and y'all are the happiest niggas in the world. Talk about being trained.
Like it's been a success.
Exactly. Like we accomplished something. We just went backwards. So y'all just undid all the protesting that's been done. Told Mike Brown mama, his mama been traveling. I'm sure she's not getting much sleep. Not only has she lost her son, but she's seeing all the foolishness going on everywhere she go, and she done lost her son. All the people protested. Y'all are erasing every bit of good that was done. So now we take 2 steps forward and 10 steps back. That's what Black people known for.
But I'm going to be honest with you.
I'm frustrated.
I'm going to be honest with you. I wouldn't be surprised if Mike Brown's mama and them are also enjoying Empire.
I wouldn't either, because it's what we come from.
That's just, yeah, it's like, you know, ooh, I love Taraji. Ooh, I love Terrence Howard.
Yeah.
You know, I think it's important to look at, you know, who's putting this out, right? That was my first question. I was like, whose project is this? Who's producing this, right? So, you know, I looked it up, and, of course, it's Lee Daniels. And Lee Daniels is partnered. He's partnered with Danny Strong on this. Danny Strong is, for one, he's Jewish, obviously, because they always running it, right?
Yep.
Now, I'm going to say this because I want to make a point here. I looked at producers like Ridley Scott, and I looked at all these movies that people like Ridley Scott did, right? They did all of these great movies, but then when it came to Ridley Scott himself in particular, you notice what he said about the Exodus movie. He said that he wasn't going to use. There's no way he would have gotten funding for it had he used Black people, basically, and that it never even dawned on. It never even crossed his mind to do such a thing, and he said it arrogantly. Now, and that everybody needed to just get a life. That he just used European people for black roles, the main black roles, using thieves, blacks for the thieves and the servants, right? So, but I noticed that he did do a movie of a black person, and it was American Gangster with Denzel Washington. And it was the life story of a drug dealer, right? So it made me think about that whole Jewish, and as some would say, anti-Semitic. It's like made up of either or, it seems. I don't know. But anyhow, you have to have the support of them in their money. So I look at Danny Strong, and Danny Strong also was raised as a Jew. And it's interesting to me because we can go all into a whole other topic about the Jews, but here it is. He says he's a Jew. He's not even, it's all European background. I don't know how you're Jewish and you're not from Judah. You're all Lithuanian and Polish and all of that. I don't understand it. So anyhow, but this is who Lee Daniels has hooked up with. Now keep in mind, because we know how the Jewish run Hollywood. We know this, right? So keeping that in mind, let's look at Lee Daniels. I'm like, is Lee Daniels an aware guy? Because he's all, is he aware? Does he have black awareness with it? And so he wants to bring all this stuff to the family, to the black family, right? But I'm looking at, like, all of these different articles, that he's been interviewed in. And it amazes me because if you look at some of the movies that he's done, like Monsters Ball, and you look in Precious, these are all very emotionally driven movies, and they're very tragic, and they always make the black woman look really bad. The men are very abusive. We saw that in Empire, just emotionally unstable, just insecure, just fighting, argumentative. It's just issues, just pure dysfunction.
Conniving.
Well, he was abused.
Yeah.
And conniving. He was abused by his dad. And he came out as being gay because he hated his dad so much. and look at all the dysfunctional roles that he's had women to play, black women to play. See, he's playing out. He also did The Woodsman. Y'all remember that movie, The Woodsman, with Kevin Bacon? It was about a pedophile.
Sure was.
This lifestyle of a pedophile. And so all of these twisted movies, I mean, he's been doing movies forever and a day. And, I mean, he helped all the way from Prince. He did the casting for Prince Under the Cherry Moon, all that stuff. Like, he knows his stuff. You see what I mean? He knows his stuff, and he's a very good businessman. On top of that, even before he got into movies. So what's interesting to me is what we're watching is his dysfunctional mind, like we do for most movies, right? But but my question is really more so, in the state of black people today, can we afford such entertainment? Can we really afford, or should there be some accountability and say, you know what, in the midst of all this, right now we protest any negative outlooks on the black culture right now. Right now we need everything positive because we know how effective, entertainment and media is. And so therefore we need, because see, that's the thing. You notice how blacks are always going to be pushed negative. That's the only way we can sell anything. Well, that's what's most relatable. That's what sells. Notice if you're trying to do conscious music, if you're trying to do any conscious music, you're not going to get the great radio play. Kendrick Lamar lasted for a minute. He ain't even trying to be in the spotlight like the way he, could be or could have been. Look at Mos Def. Look at how all of these, David Banner, you know what I mean? He even said he still got to keep some of the trash in there. You know what I mean? Yep. As a balance to still kind of get that crowd, because he knows he's not going to get, because everybody ain't going to be conscious, because we still need to wake up. So, but at least he's taking some type of responsibility to start inputting something else other than what's going out there. So the thing is that unless you're putting out trash, we already know the stories of how many people that got turned down and turned away, and how many projects got turned down because the record labels were like, nah, that's not what we want. We want the trash. We want shaking your ass, and we want the the bling, and we want the flash. That's what sells. They know that that's what sells because that's what they train people to buy. So they're saying basically, if you're not sticking within the realm of what we need for mind control, you really aren't going to have much of a career, at least not with us. And you can try to do it on your own. So what I'm saying is, should there be some level of responsibility where we say, look, could be the truth that happened in your life, and I'm so sorry, because that's good. I think in one sense it's good to see, dang, there is so much dysfunction. We need to pray. It opens up how we can think and consider how we respond to certain things. But what they're doing, they're also not only bringing up the issue, but training you and molding you, the viewer, on how to respond, how to be compassionate. Like, oh, you're bad if you don't like your son trying on shoes. This is how you're a bad parent if you take them and throw them in the trash. Okay, yeah, that was extreme, but I think it was meant for that scene to be really extreme, And here's something that I find very interesting. In Time magazine, it says, the title says, Lee Daniels on Empire. The show has already changed homophobes' minds. And I find that to be quite interesting because we see that the intent is to change your thinking to theirs. And he is gay. He's all for gay lesbianism. He's all for he's showing the emasculation in his own dysfunctional experiences. This is why he keeps putting out stuff like Monsters Ball. Look at how awful that scene was with Halle Berry in what's the dude's name? The old director, the white guy, the guy in Monsters Ball. Anyway, so y'all know the scene, and look at how she sounded and how she was portrayed, and they gave her an Oscar for that. They gave Denzel an Oscar for being dysfunctional, not for playing a strong character, a strong role. They gave them Oscars for being weak and negative. oh, you just played up to our exact expectation, and you played that role so well. You took one of the most beautiful women in Hollywood and turned her out to be a whore. And we got to see her titties. And she was a poor mother, dysfunctional mother.
Yep.
But guess what? We've allowed stories like Empire to play out. Why do we need to see them? We live it. So my question again is the accountability. See, and that's the other thing is that people will play. See, this is what Hollywood knows. They know that if you show it enough, people will start to think that that's what they are. So you take a house like the Cosby Show, you start inputting Empire in them, and then they start to tread their mind and thoughts start going there. Over
it's funny you say that because you notice they would tear Bill Cosby down right before they released this.
Y'all
gotta wake up.
And I don't know if Bill Cosby is guilty or not. But I want you guys to
I
really
don't care if he is.
I mean,
because we've been raped for hundreds of years. I'm not saying I don't care about those women.
It should. There's no respect. There's absolutely no respect for what he's done in the black community, and they are intentionally turning that down. Now, we know for a fact there was also that model that came out and was just like, nah, they offered me $5,000, and then they kept upping the amount. They offered it to me to take samples of his semen, and this was back in like the 90s, 80s or 80s, I think.
Yeah.
When he was doing it. And they were just like, oh, just act like it. And I find Beverly Johnson's story very funny. Because when her story came out, she was talking about how she met him to go over some details for a show. Mm-hmm. And that was the same thing that other model was saying. She was saying how they met to go over these details for the show, or rather saying that that's what these quote-unquote casting directors were telling her to do. Just meet up with them, look really nice. You'll just, rehearse some lines with them or something like that, and then more and more they kind of went deeper and deeper and just kind of act like you're drunk. It's the same story that they told, that Bev Johnson is telling right now. It's the exact same story, except with her story, from what they told the model, to get semen samples, like to take some of his semen, to bring some back. And she was like, hold up, what? And, and to to do a scene like where she gets drunk and not to be afraid to drink and loosen up around him. And, that was just ridiculous. So anyhow, we know that there is, even if he did it with one or two chicks, which is bad enough and God is going to get him if that's the case. But if that's not, we still know, whether or not, we still know that part of that was a setup. And we see it. Because even if Hollywood respected, I got to say this, even if Hollywood respected him, sis, they would not put him out there the way that they are. If they really respect him.
If it was the fifth wheel, I'll be drunk. They don't respect him. Did you hear what Felicia Rashad said? She said, I've been around this man most of my life. Yep. He's never showed me anything that would make me say, yeah, that's the type of man he is. She said, I did not speak out, and I'm glad she didn't. Right. When she finally spoke out, they twisted her words. She said, I told them that you take the one black man who many of us never saw a black man, a positive role model as a father, and you wait till he's built a legacy of over 30 years to tear it down. That was the issue she had, and you could tell that she was grieved. This is my thing, y'all. Think about this. We ain't talking about whether or not he's innocent or guilty. We all have to stand before the Lord when we leave here. Dude that killed Mike Brown just walked away with no indictment. Yet we about to crucify Bill Cosby. We don't know nothing about that dude that shot Mike Brown. Bill Cosby has been in front of us, and all of those kids that worked with him, somebody else would have been came forward. All the people he didn't work with. This man just walked for taking a life. Bill Cosby had some questionable sexual situations with some people years and decades ago, and they're about to crucify this man. Yet a white man can murder a black man and walk. It don't even make sense.
So, and I wonder, go ahead, sis.
No, I was just going to say, and you talking about Lee Daniels, I told you he was gay before we even researched him, because I could tell from watching the show. I could tell. I was like, this is somebody that wants the black community to be more sensitive to gay people. Look, I don't have no problem with gay people. I didn't already told y'all my story. Maybe I need to do an episode and go more in detail of that. I have been in those situations. I have been in situations with other women where you could, I guess, categorize that as it's bisexual. So this is not coming from somebody who was raised in church, and I'm very biased, and I hate gay people. I got gay people in my family. I love gay people. I have no issue with
like
gay
you saying,
people.
I got black people in my family.
I know, right?
But you also were bisexual, though. No, but you also were bisexual. It's not as if you're just saying, I know my best friend was gay.
Thank you. Right. It's like I'm talking about, so when I say that, I say, with somebody's sexuality, let me say this, it is so sick to involve children in any of that. If they was going to do that, just let us see the grown people having stuff like that going on. Why involve a 4-year-old little boy, 5-year-old little boy? We don't need to see that. Those two things shouldn't even be in the same category. Yet Bill Cosby is being crucified for what he did with some adolescent, mostly white girls, models who were already in the industry. They had already been prepped and primed for that. That's what you do in the industry. That's how you move up in the industry. It's by who you sleep with. I'm not saying that's how everybody got to the top, but we all know the ways of the world, especially those of us that's been in the industry. So you have, once again, him being crucified, but in this show, they take homosexuality and a 5-year-old innocent child and put those things in a pot together. Those two things
you know what I wish?
Separate.
You know what I wish we could see? I wouldn't even have any issues with stories like Empire or Power. And I don't know if y'all seen Power, but I've had issues with it because they never provide solution. They glorify sin because it's the world. Could you imagine if they let all that stuff come out, but then you saw salvation, you saw Christ, you saw the full, the full story, the full gamut of the deliverance of God in those situations. But because it's not in Christ, it's just the problem. The devil always presents the issue and the hope, right? A vision of something that appeals to our flesh. They want you even feeling and wanting what they want as the sinful character. In none of these shows do we see anyone longing and thirsting after righteousness. So in those, when we're feeling what they're feeling, we're wanting and thirsting after what they want. We're gaining a sensitivity. It's just like what Time magazine said, changing homophobes' minds. They want to do. And the sad part is that for how long did white people have positive programming? But blacks were always the servants, because guess what? That was the place of blacks. Oh, and the white person is the salvation. The white person is you even have the one that was, sensitive to the needs of the black servant. Oh, honey, is there anything I could do for you? Oh, you can, there's plenty. But
right.
But ever since those times, we've allowed other people to show their vision of us. And so by the time you get a Lee Daniels, everything is twisted, and it's along the lines of what they've already programmed. And now all we're doing is putting our dysfunction out there, and again, with no solutions. They think they're doing solutions by basically making you feel like the solution is changing your mind against homosexuality, changing your mind about, and confirming for somebody who is not of that community, that type of lifestyle, saying, oh, that just confirms what I thought about black people. Just so dysfunctional. All of them are just, full of hate, fear. They don't know what to do. They're just, and they get money and they're just illegal. It's just, So at what point, I ask again, are we going to have some accountability? Or does this just seem like a wasted cause, this whole conversation? Is it even realistic to have the conversation? Or just like we got to the dysfunction, can it be that one conversation at a time, one share of this show and of shows like this at a time, can we begin to make people more aware? So, sis, I want to take some calls. I mean, whatever you want to say on this, but I do want to bring this up.
Yeah,
like we look at, Proverbs. Yeah, Proverbs 22. He says, don't exploit the poor because they're poor, and don't crush the needy in court, right? And I just think about that, or don't crush or crush the afflicted at the gate, depending on which one that you're talking about, or don't crush the oppressed at the gate. I feel like we're crushing the oppressed. We're black people, we're oppressed, and stuff like this crushes us. It makes us more, it just makes us more vulnerable to this world where blacks are looking, we're cops and other blacks, and we don't trust each other, and it's creating all types of subconscious connection of don't trust black people, don't do business with another black person, this is what I'm going to expect. Next thing you know, and see, the thing is, people are like, no, but we know that with everything else, but when it comes to the stuff that we want to watch, then all of a sudden it doesn't seem to be true. Oh, it don't do nothing to my mind. It don't do. Okay, all right. But I know the influence that the Cosby Show had on my mind. That's what kept me from wanting to have sex for so long. I thought I was supposed to wait till I got married because of that show. You see what I'm saying? TV has an impact.
It put the ideas in my head.
How many people stay? You know what I mean, sis? How many people saw something on TV and said, "I want to be that when I grow up. I think I need to be that."
Yeah, that's how I got the ideas. It's funny you say that, and you keep talking about sex. Well, I'm usually the one talking about sex, but you mentioned it. But Lee Daniels had some help. Brian Grazer helped him with the show. And Brian Grazer, if y'all don't know who Brian Grazer is, if y'all Google him and see his picture, y'all will instantly know who he is. He did A Beautiful Mind, but the one that most of us would know, black people, is the one that she just mentioned with Denzel Washington. He's the one that did American Gangster, worked on American Gangster.
Yeah, see, they all working together. You see that?
Yes, they all work together. Right. I'm going to trip you out. He also did Deep Throat in 1972. He did a documentary called Inside Deep Throat. Just keep listening to the sexual undertone. He was listed as one of Hollywood's most powerful. He did an autobiography. Deep Throat was about Linda Lovelace, who's a former porn star. And that's pretty much how he started. He did a lot of other well-known things. He worked with Parenthood. He worked with Ransom, the Nutty Professor. So he pretty much knows the mind, of black people. Oh, he worked with Spike Lee also. The Inside Man, he did The Inside Man, which was with Spike Lee directing, and Denzel Washington played in it. Now, let me tell you his quote. Now, these are the people that came up with this. This is one of his favorite personal quotes. Pornography is very important and is about the physicalization of a philosophy. But I think that the birth of how trends happen or how barriers get broken down is far more interesting. I only make movies that are interesting to me. That's what he said. He went on to say, I probably should have a brand, but I think you can't get the best artists to work for you if you're branded. Trade-off, and I really would like to be more famous for my work. Get more credit for my achievements. We all want more of that. But on the other hand, if you get too big, like it says in American Gangster, success is your enemy. That's what he said. And
well, you know, wow.
Let me tell you how he finished it off. This is what he says to finish it off, which sums everything up we said and proves our point. He says, I do everything I can to disrupt my comfort zone. If he do that to himself, that was his whole purpose, was to disrupt our comfort zone. Watch a little black boy get through it in garbage can while we're watching black boys get shot and murdered every day. Why show us that? A bunch of little white girls started getting raped.
Without
and
solution.
we do a show and show the little white girl getting raped.
Yeah,
yeah.
Yeah, you instill that fear. It is. And that, you know what, exactly. And that's, oh my gosh. And he been
married 3 times.
Go ahead.
3 failed marriages.
That's probably,
that.
Mm-hmm.
So he is dysfunctional.
Amazing. See, and I want to read this other scripture. Because, you know, we can't help but to see scripture when we're talking about this stuff. In Proverbs 22:16 it says, he that oppresses the poor to increase his riches, and he that gives to the rich shall surely come to want. So I find that, to me, we're showing more oppression. We're creating more oppression. And they're getting rich. And we give our money to the rich. You see what I'm saying? We give our money to these people that continue to put this stuff out. And it's not doing anything but creating an oppressive cloud over us as black people. I can understand if we were already the majority. But when you already have hits against you as the minority, it's ridiculous.
It is.
How is that going to, I mean, it's
powerful.
on, and then it's on prime time.
10 million people saw it. I just pulled up the stat. 10 million viewers, and that's just an estimate. And I'm sure most of those were black or from some minority background. That's how powerful we are. We made this show on NewYorkPost.com. It says that we made this show the most watched show in years and years.
And
Fox had high expectations for this show. 10 million viewers. That's how powerful black people are. Even though we call them minority, we are the majority. We made this show what it is.
We can exactly, and I want to say this also. I want to say this. I'm gonna read this. This was my initial thought about, you know, the comments. Oh, the comments. Oh my gosh! Did you save the photos of the screenshots of the comments? You got to go over those if you got them, sis. And then,
okay.
So I was saying, so this was a post that I had posted around the show, and I just said, did, you know, the hashtag Black Lives Matter go out the window? Guess it's excused for watching Empire. What's a good way to shut down the black positivity and united front that's been going on? Throw us under the bus and make us feel great about it through fine entertainment. Push an all-star cast together with a sad, male-emasculating, drug-pushing storyline, all on regular TV, prime time. Let's see if black lives will still matter when it comes to the perception of morality, or the lack of blacks being portrayed on TV, entertainment, music. I will see if the numbers decline among black households in support of pushing a positive and healthy view of black life and success. And I just put these folks ain't slick hashtag. So I said that because of the obvious. We want to say that black lives matter. And I can guarantee that out of them 10 million people, there were a bunch of them that were protesting. So we're saying that black lives matter, right? Or they were on FB saying something, you know, in regards to black lives matter. So, or all lives matter. And if people tuned in, now I can understand the first episode tuning in because you don't know really what to expect. You don't know what the message is really going to be all that much. You're just, you know, hoping for something good. So I could even understand the first episode, but if those numbers stay high like that and black lives are supposed to matter, that means that I'm thinking that you're thinking black lives matter across the board. Morally, how we're portrayed in media now, that means it's like, look, just like we had the power to make that the #1 show, we have the power to say you need to get this crap up off the air. Yes, we love Taraji. Yes, we love Terrence, but we're going to let y'all know We're not going to stand for us being exploited like this. We're just not going to stand for the exploitation of that lifestyle. Not right now. Not in. I can understand if there were some other shows going on that were, because guess what, Black-ish and all that. It's been nothing but insulting comments about that show. And the writers on that show, I don't even know where they're coming from. I saw a couple of episodes of that and was just like, eh. But yeah, we're so good at writing all the negative crap about us. We're so good at being so negative. We're so good at showing the self-hate for one another, and people are exploiting it. And Lee Daniels is a victim of it himself. So the only way to teach a person is to say, look, we want to love you. We want to like you. We want to support you. But right now it's too sensitive of a time. These people are looking at us like we don't respect each other, so they can just kill us off. Oh, they're used to the drama. So how I treat them ain't going to make them feel no different. Look how they treat each other. Oh, this is how they live. That's them. So we're giving the okay when we tune in. And it's just TV, but it's so powerful. It's so powerful. Because when we tune in, that's money in their pocket, and that's them saying, yep, let's go with another one. I guarantee you that, what's his name, Ridley Scott is probably going to think twice, maybe not so much, but he'll probably think twice about putting out a movie like Exodus again, unless he just wants to say, shove it up your tail. I don't care what you think. I'm going to do another movie pushing black faces out of it and making y'all look like the servants or whatever again. I don't know. But at least that thought can go through his mind.
Yeah, I agree. I'm sure
we need to do that. You know? Yep.
Yeah.
So I'm just wondering if the numbers are going to go down, sis. Sis, can we take some calls? If you want
after this, I want to see, yeah. And I just have to say, Michael Jackson was trying to tell us, y'all. All I want to say is that they don't really care about
us. Yeah.
At the time, they had me thinking he was so out of his mind and so crazy. I didn't believe and listen to nothing came out of his mouth unless they had a beat to it. And it made me feel good. That I was like, oh, he ain't talking about nothing. They just be playing with monkeys and little boys. He ain't talking about nothing. They just defame. I just see this pattern of any black man that come out and do anything good. They tear him apart, and then he dead. So after 5, 6 times, it's no longer coincidence. It's no longer a conspiracy. It is a proven pattern that works. And black people, we are the ones powering the machine. Just like the cotton fields that we planted. We are now the ones powering the machine. The same machine that's destroying our families, the one we complain about every day, the one where black mamas get up in the morning cussing and fussing and crying that they have to do everything alone and have no help. Yeah, we're the ones that power the machine that keep us in these oppressive situations.
And you know what?
I'm
look,
sorry.
I give Oprah much credit. Yeah, look, I give Oprah much credit because remember how Lee Daniels had sent her that one script, and he said it was like a black version of the story of the movie Misery. If y'all remember how crazy that woman was, she had trapped that man and was beating him and torturing him. This is his outlook on women. Oprah Winfrey let him know. She was like, "Are you bonkers?" Like she was not going to play no role like that, and I'm so glad, and she did still play a dysfunctional role for him. But at least it wasn't her being a crazy black woman on screen. She at least had enough sense to see that.
I'm telling you, we got enough of that.
Anyway.
Okay. Well, I guess we can say
at
some
point we got to say enough. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe let's make sure we're not the only ones that feel this way. And I have to say, I'm not trying to. We are not. Like I said, we don't need any more hatred. So for those of you that aren't black that are listening to the show, this is not us trying to make it seem like we're racist and you're not any of that. There is no hatred, all love on this show. If you exist within our community, you would understand the pain behind and the passion behind what we're saying and where this is coming from. And for those of y'all that listen to the show that don't think it's an issue, when you come home and you find your son in the bed with a little boy, I think that's when many of you all will realize, and that's when it'll hit you, This is unnatural, and this is wrong. If grown folks want to do that, that's fine, but please stop involving the children. Let them grow up before these sexual images are impressed on them. Let them develop. And that's why we have so much dysfunction. It's because they're painting this picture. God made us in his image. But then he said that Satan, he comes as an angel of light. So, yeah, they're making it seem like it's non-threatening. It's not going to do any harm. And you should be raising your own kids. Your kids shouldn't see something on TV and then want to do it. Well, that's how it works. We saw cool outfits on TV, and what do? We went and bought them. We see some stuff to whiten your teeth on TV as grown people, and what do? We go buy it. So it's simple the way advertising and marketing works. So I just had to say that because I don't want people to think that we're speaking from a very closed-minded perspective, just all the way around. But let me take a call. It's just, man, and please be nice. We want everybody to be honest on the show. But I definitely want people who are struggling with homosexuality, bisexuality, or whatever it may be. I don't want you all to feel unloved on the show. So whoever has something to say about this, if you could just keep that in mind. We may have a young person listen to the show tonight who's struggling with this, hasn't accepted this, isn't proud of it, and wants to be delivered from it. So let's keep that in mind. Express how we feel, but without hatred.
In under 2 minutes. Under a minute or two.
Yeah, keep it under a minute or two. Definitely. Okay, 901-364 Taboo Talks. You on the line to make a comment, or you just listening?
Hey, this Chop, I was just listening.
What's up, Chop? Good to hear from you, man. You're so dedicated on a Sunday. We know you love your football, and you're on here with us tonight.
Yeah.
So, Chop, let me ask you, even though you say you just listened, I got to ask, did you see Empire?
Yeah, I seen it.
Did you see the part when he threw his son in the garbage? How did you feel about this?
Well,
not the whole show.
Oh, Lord. Well, I put myself in this situation. I wouldn't have threw him in the garbage can, but I would have probably had the same reaction of seeing my son or any young male will dress like a woman.
Yeah. Yeah. That's pretty sick.
Now see,
I
was just, and just 2 weeks ago, and my son had done this before, but just 2 weeks ago, his dad isn't around. Okay, his dad is in another state, and he came in here and had on one of my heels. And my response, and it's funny that this was on the show because my response when he came out, Lord knows, I wanted to beat his tail, right? But instead, it was just simply, it was cool. I didn't make a big deal of it, and I just said, no, baby, those are for girls. Those are for mommy, And he said, oh, like for Lacey, talking about his sister, those, and for Lacey, I said, yeah, when she grows up, yeah. So when she grows up, yeah. And he was just like, oh, okay. He had took them off and put it back and went on about his business. You see what I mean? But I know that he used to always step in his daddy's shoes, too. It's just something that kids like to do, and they try it out. He's tried to put on bracelets before, and I say, no, that's for girls. And I'll put something else in his hand. This is for boys. Or this, you know what I mean? Because, and they say, oh, how are you going to choose for your child? Because that's what I'm trained to do as a parent. That's what I'm told to do. That's what I'm supposed to do by God. That is how you help to form and shape. And you don't have to freak out. It's because that is kids naturally have a tendency to test out everything. You see what I mean? That's why as the parent, we just straighten them out in the right direction. He says, train up a child in the way he should go. When he's older, he won't depart from it. So,
it's funny you said that. It's funny you said that we had a debate about is a person born with homosexual tendencies in them, or they chose to do that.
Yeah.
And I feel like if a child born with homosexual tendencies, it's up to their parents if they see that, correct it.
Yeah, and exactly.
Right.
And now, will we be able to always? Because some stuff we know is you know, sometimes we wrestle not against flesh and blood. It's bigger than that. At the same time, it does start at an early age. So we know that even if a child, let's just say a child does just instantly come off like gay, right? Just instantly want whatever the same sex is doing. You know, they want that, right? Well, or whatever it is. Well, the Bible says, and plainly, and one of my spiritual mothers will say it. You know, what did he say? What did Jesus say? He was just like, you must be born again. Because people say, I'm born like this. This is why Jesus said, be born again. We were born with the natural proclivity to sin against him and to fornicate, to commit adultery, to do all of these things, to thieve, to connive, to be deceptive, to love the lie, to love darkness. That is who we are. That is our natural tendency in our carnal mind. So that is why, exactly like what you said, you go and you train that child what's right, because they don't know. So that's an awesome point, Chop. That's a great point. And that lines
really
up so much with Scripture. That is why we train a child up in the way they should go.
Exactly. And Chop, you keep that mindset, because black men are losing it every day. I'm hearing black men that used to say they see the issue with it, to them saying, well, it's not so bad. I mean, if that's what that person wants to do when they get, you know, a little bit old enough. No, no. While they in your house, they need to go by the rules that are set in the house and the way you raising them. When they leave your house, of course they can do whatever they want to do. They grown. But while they in your house, they need to be raised by the rules that you set in your house. And man, keep that. We need black men to keep their foot down on what's right and what's wrong, and not allow the media to keep telling us and bullying us into what's right and what's wrong. So thank you so much, Chop. I'm gonna go to the next call, and he just what was you just saying? He's so faithful, and I want to answer a question before we go out. So we're gonna take the next caller, 951-551. Taboo Talk. You on listening, or you like to make a comment?
Peace.
Oh, what's up? This night
What's
shift.
Going on? Yeah, this night shift.
Man, night shift. Did you see the show?
Yeah, I've seen it.
What you think?
And what you think?
I mean, I ain't mind it for me because I know what I'm looking at, but it's the same program. They just program it.
Yeah.
And like you say, they're making money off our backs.
Yeah.
I mean, the same thing with the music and this and that. I mean, if we old enough to know. It's just the kids and the teenagers that's caught up on all that flash, you know?
And even though we're old enough to know, as long as we keep on watching it, it puts money in their pocket to feed the kids.
Yeah.
See, so it's like we can't even just enjoy it to just be like, I know I'm looking at some garbage, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that's the whole thing. It's like we know that our viewing feeds our kids, makes them say, yeah, they want more, do more. They'll take it. And then it's the kids. God dang it.
They've been programming us ever since BET came out.
Oh, man. Ooh, you said something there.
Said, the best thing we had was the Cosby. After that, we've been getting programs for years. You know?
I'm telling you.
It's just when are you going to wake up?
Right.
When are people going to wake up and really know what you're seeing? That's just like all the horror movies, how they had to change them up because people started being serial killers and this and that because, I mean, they know what they're doing.
Good point.
And then, like you say, as far as the gay stuff, they've been forcing that gay agenda for some years now. You know, and ever since they started getting their rights, and now they about to bum rush the show, and most of Hollywood is gay. I mean, like the producers and stuff like that. So once they made it legalized to marry, now I mean you just notice, just look at it. I mean it's everywhere now.
It is.
And they pushing that, and they pushing it. I mean they pushing it.
Pushing it. Yeah, they definitely are, and that's my issue. Don't push that. You know. Do we all smoke crack?
Just like even on the news, as far as the programming, look at the stuff when we were looking at Ferguson. I don't want to jump off topic, but look at a lot of the stuff how they kept looping it, and they looping and they looping. You know what I'm saying? It's the program. They keep looping everything.
Let me say this real quick. For those who are listening online, it's probably going to go on and shut down for you guys, but we're still on, and you could always go back and listen to the ending through our archives. Be sure to share this show, okay? So that's just for those who the show is going to cut off. Go ahead, y'all.
All right. Man, thank you.
Because we didn't say it. We're trying to stay at an hour.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Y'all all right. I was just listening to the show, but yeah, it ain't nothing but the programming that they're doing.
You're definitely right. You know, our 1-year anniversary coming up tonight, so you can jump on with us next weekend. Make sure you do. And if you got any ideas, hit me up, KM2479@yahoo.com. You know our Facebook ad. If you get any ideas, shoot me an email.
I don't be doing all that. I don't be doing all that Facebook.
He already said a long time ago he don't do all that.
That's right.
I stay low. I don't want to get caught up in no mess. And plus, I like to stay off the radar,
I'm telling you, you're definitely right. All right, Naisha. Well, thank you so much for giving us, he always give us some good little tidbits to listen to.
Yeah.
So I guess, do you want to take, we got one more call. We can take the last one.
Go ahead and take,
Since we're over. Okay. All right, 954-646. You just listen to the show, or would you like to make a comment?
Oh, I'll make a comment. Hi, guys.
Hey.
How are you?
I'm
good. It was towards the end, but I still made it.
That's okay. I'm telling you. I'm glad you're on. What do you think about the show?
Actually, I ended up watching it. Well, sort of, kind of, but not because I turned it on. It's because it was. My nephew was watching it, and I agree, especially about the gay agenda.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm gonna go back to my little nephew. He's in middle school, and he was watching a cartoon earlier on in that day, actually. And I was just sitting. I was sitting in the chair, and I was working on my computer, and I happened to look up, and I couldn't believe what I was seeing on the cartoon. It was two girls kissing. So I was like, what? Wow. I looked up and I was like, what is that? And he said, and the words for them was, well, it's normal. It's been like this for years. And I'm like, when did that become normal? I mean, I know that I've been seeing little things here and there, but it's not that I'm not saying that it's not normal for some people, because I'm old enough to know that I've seen little kids from when they're really, really, really young, and I knew that they were different. But to put this on everybody, for it's so normal where there's no way that it's not going to become, it's not going to have an effect on the masses. It's going to have an effect on the masses because they're going to think that it's okay. Try this, try that, try this, try that.
Yep.
I just don't
nobody's
think
going to make you feel condemned. Nobody's going to make you feel bad if you get with another guy. You could get the guy and the girl. It's just creating a burning lust towards both. Yeah.
And
it's so true.
Okay, so cartoons, so that's from they're really little, so pretty much what they're doing is they're grooming them for it to be acceptable. Whether they're grooming them for them to turn to be that way is something entirely, but they're grooming them for them to be accepting where no one's going to complain or say anything anymore. But that's with television in general. There is no such thing. There are no more boundaries. All the boundaries have been crossed, and they've been crossed for a really long time. One of the things that it's funny because I just came back to Maryland, and for the last 4.5, 5 months, God has been doing some work on me, and one of the things that he did was he took away my desire to watch television. So, I don't even watch television anymore. But to go from not watching it and then going back and then actually now I'm able to see it with a different set of eyes, with a new kind of meaning. And it's crazy to me. It's crazy to me, and all I keep saying is, this is why I don't watch TV, but it's not why I don't watch TV. God just took away the desire, just like he delivered me from television, he delivered me from cigarettes. He delivered me from a lot of things, like instantaneously delivered me from a lot of things. So it's like he's grooming me. He's grooming me to, I don't know what he's grooming me for, but for the last, I don't know how many months, just so many things have been changing. He's just been transforming my life. I mean, like 100%.
That's awesome.
It's
and
a complete
transformation. I'm praying, that's excellent, because I pray that others, that we are, as just collectively, even just as a black people, or just as a people, just period, because it's nonsense on the television against all races. Like, it doesn't even, it's because it's just sin, it's a spiritual thing, period. It's against humankind, period. It is to send people to hell. It is to train the minds to go to hell, like, to sin against God, right? To have carnal minds that think, opposite of the will of God. So I pray, that is excellent. I pray the desire in our minds to not crave or feel like we have to watch this stuff anymore. I pray that we're just able to just put it down, turn off the cable, boycott, spiritually boycott. Just say, you know what, I put it down. And because it is like cigarettes. It is like a drug addiction. It is like alcohol. We get high on it. We have to have that interaction. We have to have that. And now for some people, like I look at Khamsin, like I know Khamsin can care not to watch it a day in her life, but at the same time, she looks at it and she sees what's going on with the time. So I know that there are people that are like that as well. I know for me, I rely on Khamsin because I don't care. I don't do it. I'm just like, I know Khamsin got that part of it. And if it's really something, she'll share it with me. And so, but most people are not like that. Most people are just watching because it's like, that's their entertainment. That's how they relax. That's how they unwind. I pray that we really, and I believe that we're able to take so much time to do that because we're not interacting with the Lord the most. For some of us it's Facebook. Like me, I don't ever really watch TV. I'm a movie watcher. But I'll be on the internet all day reading articles on Facebook, just doing whatever it is. If I'm having that free time to do so, I will do it. But I got rid of my smartphone so that I'm not on it all the time, like when I'm out of the house or when I'm with my kids and we're out doing something. So little things like that, taking little steps to be intentional, to not
to be present, because
stimulate,
you have to be present.
Because the devil's trying to take everyone's mind.
It's distraction. Actually,
exactly.
everything that's happening, negative, all the killings, the stuff with the police, the stuff with Bill Cosby, the stuff with all of these people, all of this stuff, it's a distraction. It's a distraction from what they don't want you to see. It's a distraction from the fact that the world is going and has been going through changes for a while. And the fact is the darkness, it's time for their reign to be over. But they're not going gently into the night. And that's what's happening. That's what's happening now, is because they're not going gently into the night. It's time for the light to rise. And because now it's time for the light to rise, the darkness, they're going to fight like they've never fought before to get what they need
They're
to
trying
get.
to rise. That's the whole point.
Yeah.
Look at Batman, Dark Knight Rises. Look at all that
but
stuff
it's
around
true.
that time.
And ISIS, like, where does ISIS come from? It's like, look at all these little things. It's just that they've been preparing for a long time for their end time. And it's time for their reign to be over. And because it's time for their reign to be over, they're fighting like cats and dogs to not let go. This is what it looks like when someone don't want to let go, and they don't want to go gently into the night. I know I say it and it sounds funny, but it's the truth. It is the truth. When you look at it, look at everything, and step back away and not take it personal, and just see it with a renewed eye. See it through your spiritual eye. Your flesh eye will show you one thing. You have to see it through your spiritual eye. When you see it through your spiritual eye, you're going to see it for the truth that it is. It's them being scared.
I challenge people to see it that way. I challenge people to see it that way. I challenge people to kind of put it down for a while, put down their music for a while, and then you'll see because I've done that plenty of times before, where at first I would do it intentionally, and then eventually I just lost interest in certain things. I hadn't had cable in years, you know, but it's like I knew once I had kids that cable was just not going to be cool. You know, once they started getting to that point where they could change the channel themselves, that was it. But like I know, you still have to teach your children. You still have to make them aware. Like my kids are still pretty aware of things, and I don't shelter them from everything, but it is my job to still shelter them and then train them on the things that other people are not sheltered from. But at the same time, I do, like, I pray that people take that challenge and just say, you know what, I'm going to just set it down. Let me just set it down for a while. Let me not do the TV. Let me not let them control. Let it not be that I got to wake up and jump on Facebook. Let it be that I don't have to wake up and watch CNN. Let it be that I don't have to wake up and see, you know, what's going to be on for TV today. You know,
or I got to every Wednesday. I can't take that challenge. I'm going to be watching it every Wednesday.
and a lot of people,
but no,
they can't. A lot of people can't survive without negativity.
Without it.
If they're not entrenched in negative programming, they just don't feel like their life is worth anything. Look at all of these programmers that's coming on reality TV shows. They're just so negative, and everyone is so engrossed in it. It keeps them asleep. But more and more people are waking up to God is tapping people. God is tapping a lot of people. He's not tapping the people that you would think. He's tapping the people that you wouldn't imagine that he'd tap and say, wake up. I'm talking to
and
you.
That's who this
I
show
need you to pay attention.
Mary.
He's picking up, he's waking up people
you are exactly right.
who are different. He's waking up people who have always
and the people who are
thought
outcast.
that they were strange, and that's exactly
From
what it
church.
is. Where you've always known that you're different, but you didn't know why. You just knew you were. You knew you were different from your family members. You knew you were different from this person because everything that the way that you think, the way that you see the world, the way that you see things, has always been different from everyone else. And I think that's who he's waking up, because more and more of us are waking up. But the problem is we have to find each other. And so we're being drawn. That's where the Internet comes in, because if it hadn't been for the Internet, I wouldn't have found like-minded, I wouldn't have found like-minded people. So it's great that there's so many different things that's out there where we can slowly but surely find each other, so that we can do whatever it is that God woke us up to do, because we weren't always awake. We weren't always seeing things. We weren't always saved, and not just regular saved, but saved with a purpose and with passion, and we're following Him. It's different from even when you look at people who are going to church and they're so church, but
they're not woke.
They say that they're saved, but they're asleep. Because
I was asleep when I was in the church. I didn't care about nothing going on outside my church. If it didn't affect the people in my church, I'm being honest, I wasn't affected. Unless it impacted someone close to me there or within my, general family, I didn't care. And I was so church. I was in a bubble, and I wasn't trying to do anything for the people on the outside. I didn't care. But thank you so much, Mary. You're always so enlightening and encouraging.
Wait, this isn't Mary. This isn't Mary.
Gail. No, Gail. It's just
Gail.
Gail.
Yeah, I was like, this isn't Mary.
Okay. Thank you. I thought she had the same name. I'm like, okay, it's two of them.
Now I took your I took your name, not your name. I took your number down before, but I didn't want to call you. I was hoping you'd call in again. Is it okay that if I give you a call personally, if we have like a topic? Okay. Cool.
Okay, awesome. Because we still want to get you all on, because we hadn't did that show yet. We got to put that together to bring all the women on. And she was one of the women that we named would be, Okay, awesome. So thank you so much.
Okay.
You're always so enlightening and encouraging. Now that I got your name right.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Thank y'all for hanging in there with us. And I'm going to, just if you don't mind, I'm going to go out with just a brief spiel that I have to say. But I have to say this, we're going through an awakening right now. And in this awakening, you're going to realize that you've been asleep. And just like she said, he's tapping on your shoulder. So little by little, you will notice things you didn't notice before. Just be more attuned to it. I want you all to be conscious of the awakening that's happening. Even things within your own life, you're going to see a whole new way. And it is possible to be asleep in your conscious mind, and you're just functioning through routine. And he's snatching us out of our routine and pulling us into the reality of right now for what's happening. And thank God, you know, the Bible talks about the sleeper being awakened and to awaken from your slumber. And I have to say, in a day and time, child is considered wrong, or correcting your child is considered abuse. That is a sad, sad day. And for those of you who are struggling with homosexuality, you can be delivered. It's no different than any other sin. There's deliverance for you, just like it is for the alcoholic, the crackhead, the person who can't stop stealing, just whatever, sin and sin. And Jesus died for it all. The only sin that's unforgivable is blasphemy against the Holy Spirit. So don't let them make you feel like you got to stay like that. No. And there's no such thing as being born homosexual. We're just born with a predisposition to sin.
To sin, exactly.
Yours may be fornication. Mine may be bisexuality. Someone else's may be crack. Someone else's, they can't stop drinking coffee. Just what it is, sin is sin. Gluttony is gluttony. Greed is greed. So know that we can be delivered from it all. So I just had to say that. That was all. I just want to say that.
Well, I want to say what you posted. You did post in the Taboo Talks Facebook page.
I did.
One of the comments. Love how the story is unwinding. Homosexuality in the black community has never been addressed on prime time. I love that the script dares to explore the deep-seated hate from the father as well as the son's struggle for acceptance. Very, very interesting. And guess who this was done by? A woman. This is what's even more sad to me, because the black woman has a tendency to say that there are no good black men out there, and she looks like she's probably a single mother because it's just her and her son in the picture. Now, I'm not saying that's the case, but we know that is often the case. So it's black women rooting for gay black men, but yet and still you want to be bitter that no black man wants you, seemingly, and then that they're either in jail gay or want white women or whatever your argument would be, and then still, and you want to act like you're best friends with a gay guy when the gay guy at the end of the day will take your guy. How twisted is this that the homosexual community is even to the point of saying, I'll make you feel bad for not wanting what you naturally want. You know what I mean? Like or for being angry at what you even want. It's like what am I trying to say? You know what I'm trying to say? Like it's like you yourself are rooting for something that is actually against you and not in your favor.
We love our oppressor. We love the oppressor. We love the opposition.
Because we have been trained that if we go against it, we're wrong and we're evil. So I'm just thankful that we did this show. I'm glad we got it out. Everything you just said, sis, I really pray people were encouraged by that because it is so true on every level. And I'm done. But I'm glad that you were able to. So y'all could see that post on Taboo Talks on the Facebook page. Go like our show, like our page. Please share the show, you guys, because it's just shows like this just that bring out the conversations. And we just really appreciate your support, okay? So the listeners are the ones that help to spread what this show is talking about. And if you believe in it at all, please share it with somebody, whether verbally, you know, through the Internet or just whatever it may be. And we appreciate y'all so much. Playing the show, y'all. I mean, playing the song. So, y'all make sure to go and visit Khamsin on YouTube. That's Cam what is it? Is the underscore?
Cam. Cam underscore CN and Instagram. Yeah, and Twitter and Facebook. Yeah,
okay.
And I'm still
XML24
on YouTube.
Yeah, and then y'all could also go to Y'all can go to wisdominred.com. Oh, you guys finally got the issues, all settled with my book. So y'all can go to wisdominred.com. Y'all can check out my book, Wisdom in Red, The Words of Jesus. I'm on IG, Wisdom in Red. You guys check it out. Come check us out. Give us your comments, your story topics, and we would be glad to discuss them. Much love to y'all. We will talk to y'all soon. I want to hear this song, Calvin's Revenge. I haven't